It's not your fault or mine, but together we can do something about it. Stay tuned.
Voices of humanity, we need to hear your voices. We need to hear your voices.
Welcome to Voices of Humanity at prconnectionsradio.com, the voice of new media. I'm Sandra McKechnie, your host, and it is a privilege to be here. Thank you so much. I have a beautiful guest today. Now, I want to tell you a little bit more about double consciousness. The show is fueled by double consciousness. I run cultural sensitivity and awareness trainings. I'm a certified life coach, sort of niching down in that same niche through an anti-bias, anti-oppression lens. And this video podcast is fabulous because we get into the intersections of double consciousness, two streams of thought, two social identities, and it has to do with individuals that have been assimilated by slave massa and then have come and into reconciling their African Canadian, African American, Afro German roots and trying to have a sense of self in every area of their life, spirit, soul, and body. And so we get into the intersections of double consciousness on this show. And my guest, actually, I have been on her show and interviewed by her twice. And that was great. The last time it was just recently. Ayesha, welcome, hon. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank
Now,
you so much, Sandra.
you are very welcome. And we're going to we have two guests today. And Ayesha's going to take up the first part. And then we have another little surprise for you. And that's going to be great as well. And first of all, Ayesha, I'm going to read your bio, a little bit of this bio here. All right. The loaded lady here. So Ayeshasrdr.lfs. Ayeshasrdr is an experienced mental health therapist and a marketing strategist with a master's in psychology and business administration. She is the founder of a not-for-profit called Public Allies. That's the platform I was on for my interview with her, established to help and support the most vulnerable members of the society. Public Allies is the recipient of Community Civic Award 2021 for its outstanding achievement in helping the community under her leadership. She is also a member of the advisory committee to the City of Pickering, Canada, on matters such as diversity, Canada, culture and anti-Black racism and Indigenous relationship building. She is a creative advisor and an ambassador to companies in Canada and abroad. She was named the executive director of a community platform built for South Asians called Global South Asian Women, and she has a passion for this, and we're going to get into this today. In January 2021, she is sought after as a motivational speaker and as a subject matter expert in Canada and other parts of the world. She is a service-focused social worker and an organizational planner with skills in building community support, key coalitions, and strategic interagency partnerships backed by solid strengths in program personnel and case management. Fabulous. Welcome, Han, once again. Now, I know your passion, so we're going to get into that because double consciousness has quite a bit to do with what you were talking about today. We had met, we discussed a number of things. I was on a round table. That was about 2 years ago that I was at the round table. And then Ayesha interviewed me about double consciousness, implicit bias, implicit racial bias. We got into that. So I would love you to bridge this for us. If you want to take a few minutes and tell us a little bit more about you and then get into where you're at now and what you're doing.
Yeah, thank you so much, first of all, Sandra. And each time I've had a conversation with you, it's amazing because, we don't have to pre-plan the conversations. They just flow because we are so passionate about everything we do and similar things, right? We have realized that we work on similar projects and in the community, and that helps build that relationship between us. So for me, I have been a psychologist and I've traveled across the world. I've lived in South Africa for 4.5 years. Before that, I've traveled in Asia, and now I'm in Canada. But then it doesn't end. Each time I go to a new country, you you kind of are lost, right? You want to
Mm,
find your own community, you want to find
yes,
your own people. So
for
when
sure.
I was in South Africa, it was not difficult, I would say, because people are pretty welcoming. Even here, people are pretty welcoming. Canada, whichever place I've lived, but then finding your base,
Mm,
finding your people. When I
yes,
say
yes,
your people, it's
yes,
not just South Asians that I'm
yes.
talking about.
Hmm.
It's like every immigrant that passes through that journey, right, has that difficulty, has that gap that they have to bridge, because you have to start belonging to a place. You have to have
Mm,
that sense of belonging,
I
right?
love it. Yes.
So when I say I'm the CEO of Global South Asian Women, that started because of that sense of belonging. Because many of the women, this is one of the women actually told me this, and I agree with her completely. They said, Aisha, you're a psychologist and I'm having this problem. I feel I'm too Canadian for my Indian parents,
Mm,
and
hmm.
I'm too Indian for my Canadian friends.
Mm,
So where do I belong? Like, I can't find myself completely accepting the culture my parents brought, or completely accepting the culture that I'm in.
mm.
And I my parents don't understand it, neither do my friends.
That's the double consciousness right there.
Absolutely, that's where I
Wow.
was going. And
Mm,
and that's why Global South Asian Women is a place where such people and that is why it is global, because it is just
mm.
not people in Canada who are feeling that. It is people who live every other place. When I was in South Africa, I felt the same, but it was a different place, it was a different community. I felt that.
Yes, yes.
When I moved to Canada, that is how I felt. But having that knowledge of psychology probably helps you blend in better and find your people faster
Mm,
than the others would. They're struggling. So we have this community where people come every Thursday at 7 p.m. and we talk about things you cannot talk to other people, or probably they don't understand when you say those things,
yes, yes.
right? So we do that, and there is no judgment, there is no negativity, there is no bias there.
Mm,
You can say what you want to say without being feared. And that
mm,
is the safe space Global South Asian Women so far has created for them. We also help promote their businesses, because sometimes coming from a South Asian country, you have to understand that women are not women don't take the first step, or probably they were not used to doing that. But now it's changing. They want to be entrepreneurs, but they don't know how,
okay,
right? So
okay. Well,
that's
they're
where we
they're in
come.
good hands. Aisha, my goodness, what is it that you don't do? You do a lot. You do a lot. So I want to ask you something. How did, because I know there's been so much volatility between when you were in South Africa, like say between our Indians that were bought there how many years ago for as laborers
Yeah.
and then service. But so how did the relationship between blacks, and how did that affect you when you were there? Things might have changed a long time before you got there, but did you
Yeah.
notice anything was different there when you
See,
were in South
I
Africa?
I I don't want whichever radio or media it is to shut you down. There is racism everywhere,
Oh,
Sandra.
yeah.
I'm
No,
just
no,
being open
that's good.
about it.
That
Sometimes it's
absolutely,
in your face, sometimes it's
absolutely.
behind your back, right?
Yes, yes,
In South
absolutely.
Africa, or you see it like in your face.
Mhm,
There,
absolutely.
it's a very welcoming community. I didn't have any problems there, because
Mm,
they treat South Asians as themselves. Like,
yes,
they
yes.
they feel like, you have been tainted, we have been tainted, you came as laborers, we were slaves. So there's not much of a difference. They're very welcoming. In fact, when I was there, it was the time, I feel it was the golden time,
Mm,
where they saw things beyond themselves. Like, it was not like they want, like, whatever is happening now in South Africa it hurts me, because I've lived there and I feel
of
like
course.
it's my second country.
Mm,
But I never had any problem. In fact, my neighbors were very generous, because I have twins. They, whenever they bake goods, even if I didn't know them, if they bake goods for their kids, they used to bring it to me just because they heard kids in the house. So
oh.
that's how welcoming they were.
So you yourself had no challenge with blacks, you know. Okay, but did you notice the volatility between Indians and blacks there? It was.
Not only Indians and blacks, like, if
Mhm,
you've lived in South Africa, you will understand that security is such a huge thing. The place that I lived in, it's called Santon, and that was the suburb. And every house there is fenced.
mhm,
Not only fenced,
mhm,
you have a electric fencing. You
mm-mm.
have a fingerprint monitor to enter the apartment, because yeah, there are a lot of cases of mugging, and you cannot be walking alone on the streets. So um, we avoided that, and we used to always have, like, go in a group or go with friends, so maybe like we were clever about it. So yeah.
And how did that affect you? Is that guy?
Yeah.
Hi,
Hi guys.
guy. What? Did you have something to put input, guy? Gosh, what is this? Where is my guy? Where is Ayesha? Poor thing.
I'm right here, but I
I
think
can't. I
I
can't
you
see
cannot
you.
see me. Technical difficulties,
No,
Sandra.
no. He's
That's it.
actually. I don't think it's so technical as much as he's probably on his phone. Everybody, but Ayesha, I think this is. Oh, there you are. You're on your own. I can ask the questions now.
Yeah, I
He's.
cannot see you now.
I know. I can see you though. But oh my
Yeah.
goodness. Okay, so we'll keep going like this. I don't know what guy did
Okay.
with his phone, but after South Africa, did that affect you, like when you are noticing? Because what I'm learning now, that all over the world, there you go, darling, all over the world, this thing is affecting people everywhere, in the Philippines, in everywhere. This is a huge thing. So I always ask people, in relationship to yourself, you notice that it was a challenge, still a challenge for blacks and whites, so called, you know, these bywords. So you noticed the challenges there when you were there between those
Yes.
groups. Yeah, yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Right. There is no right or wrong there.
Hmm.
Some people have been wronged and they want revenge, but what I would suggest is get past that and look at what you can be doing collectively. Like,
Hmm.
education is one of the things that I always said, like, South Africa has to look into,
Yeah,
because you have this clearly marked communities. The Caucasians live in, or the immigrants live in, suburbs, and the blacks live in downtown, and there is a clearly marked boundaries saying, like, don't enter into my territory, you don't enter into my territory.
incredible. Incredible.
It's
See, I almost feel, I heard that you could almost like draw it. It's so clear,
Yes.
and you don't go one way and the other one doesn't go the other way. So this is, and so for our listeners, even just to, I always say to people, because what your experience is, people may need to know that, hey, yeah, that's a real thing that was happening there, and it was embedded in law. It wasn't
Yeah.
just redlining and greenlining. That too was embedded in law, but I mean, it was very specific. The white supremacy, that whole thing. So, but in South Africa, and then we're going to get right back to this part. In South Africa, now, were you? Um, when you were where was my thought going? I was going to say, did you feel, in terms of, was it the fact that you were sort of a little better than those that are darker? Well, obviously, so there were some benefits, yet you're not equal. There's no equity there. Is
Yes,
that right?
there is no equity there,
Okay.
because although you were born there, that is what I feel with every country that gives privilege to outsiders. You have to take care of your own people first, right?
Ah,
They have to own the place. Like the education system, the cleanliness in the downtown, if you look at it, was much lesser than what it was in the suburbs. Now,
ah,
who is to blame? This goes both ways, Sandra.
of
Like I
course.
say, if the government is not taking charge of it, we as people have to take charge of it,
Yes, yes,
right?
absolutely,
And when
absolutely.
you do that, you're telling them, notice us, like, you're telling them, watch us do better for ourselves, and then take charge of it. Now we do have, I believe the new government has taken over, but I want to see like what are they going to do about the education, about the cleanliness, and how are
Mhm,
you going to unite it? That was what Mandela wanted, right?
mhm, mhm,
That is why he said, I'm not going to punish the people who put me in prison for so many years.
mhm, mhm,
And that was the message he wanted. But then, are they following it? Maybe, maybe not.
mhm,
Like,
mhm.
you can see few communities who mingle amongst each other,
Yep,
but not everyone. There is a lot of poverty, there is a lot of, like, unemployment,
for
housing
sure.
problem, everything.
What did you think? Because I know I had thoughts about Indian people that are so off the map because we're all taught different things as we come through this time warp back way back in the 1700s beyond and coming home into the 21st century. We have stereotypes and ideas that are so off, you
Yeah.
know. And but so when you thought as you were growing before you've been doing this huge work and grew up as a beautiful woman that you are, a professional, how did you see blacks? How were you colonized? How were you and that how did that affect you? How did you see black people? What was the rhetoric in your mind?
I might come across as a hypocrite, but I've changed from that time till now. So I want to say this. Um, w- when I heard about South Africa, that my husband was moving there, and we might have to move there to for the job and all that. We love traveling when we have traveled, but South Africa was the last place in my mind,
Mhm.
right? And when they said it's South Africa, the first thing when we started like digging in, and you've seen the news, you see it everywhere. The thing is, like, you get a little worried, right? And the impression that it has left, it's not only for me. You look at a black person, you think twice. You're like, am I safe here? That changed for me after living in South Africa. I'm more open. I have seen people who have been so helpful, who have helped, and who have been like friends to us. There is a tribe there, I can't remember the name, and where only people of the clan tribe can go and follow the rituals. My husband
Mhm.
was invited there. He was given that. I don't have it right now. I wish I had kept it. Their tribal shirt, which is not given to everyone. So you see, we were not scared of that anymore. We went into the depths.
My Ayesha, I'll tell you something. It's not only you. We all do it with different people. You may feel a certain way about your people in terms of
Absolutely.
racist points of views that other people have instilled on you through the time warp, through the ages. And it's
Oh,
weird
I'll tell you about that if you don't
because
mind. You
yes.
as South Asians, we have
Mm,
been called so many things.
mhm,
Like, the same thing if a Caucasian does it or a Western person does it, they call it environmental friendly, or they call it like, oh, they're being so mindful of the things, of the climate, of the environment. But a South Asian does the same thing, you're called cheap, or you're called a stingy person, and things like that. I'll give you an example, okay?
I hear you.
I The first time I was watching Friends, and I literally laughed at it, and then I was like, oh my god, this is double standards. There is a particular episode in that where Monica is praised for, or called out for, storing gift packs, right? The gift wrap, sorry.
Mhm.
And they're like, oh, it's so environmentally friendly, and somebody who does it here is like, such a wonderful person, you're reusing those bottles, the glass jars which come, and you're told like, oh, you're being so mindful and all that. The same thing if an Asian does it, oh my god.
I love it. I love it. Okay, this is why there should be no I or me, you, because we're so sympathetic. Honestly, when I go, my friend from Ethiopia, so we go. I love my injera. I make all this different the stuff. You might not know it, but some of it is so amazing, and I love it. So, so she'll say to me, you know what? How come they treat you differently than they treat me? Who is
Absolutely right.
And so we laugh about this. And it's the truth. They do treat me differently than they
Yeah,
treat her. It is
absolutely.
incredible. So I'm finding this even when my friend and I we went to a Dairy Queen one time, another black sister. So we were hanging out, went to a Dairy Queen, and out in the front were a couple of black guys. You had their hoodies on, baggy pants, and I stepped out of the car. So she to know her is to love her. She just stepped out. She was like, "Girl, let's go get some ice cream." And so I looked twice, and I went, "Oh my gosh, what are they doing? They got hoodies on. They look like they're there to rob the place." So she looked at me. And she went, "You're so ridiculous. Let's go get the ice cream." And I'm thinking, I'm scared. Okay,
Yeah.
so what do you think they were doing there? They were there to rob the joint. No, Aisha. They were there to buy ice cream, period.
Absolutely.
So I
But
came out and I thought, these are things we're taught
but
about
tell me something. Why did you think so?
because of that is what I've been taught. That's the assimilation. We're taught it. We're subliminally seduced by the news. We're subliminally seduced by the slave master, 21, 20, 20, 19, 18, 17. Look like me. There's like a video there back there. Come on. Come, slave. Look like me. Talk like me. Walk like me. But at the end of the day, take the whip and beat your own people to death like me. We are taught these things, which are so untrue. Hey, viewers, if you want to get in touch with me, join the training. Double consciousness. We have a
And
fundamentals and advanced. It will
I
change your
call it
state.
like constant conditioning of our mind.
It
Because,
is
like you
always
said, the
television.
media
Yes.
continuously, you've been
Yes.
told, like, this is
Yes.
what they do, this is what they do. And, this is another thing that I keep hearing. Indians don't know how to talk in English. You
Yes.
go, 90% of the Indians just speak English. Like,
Mm, mm,
we are,
mm.
I don't know where that came from. And when I heard it the first time, I was like, really? You think we can't speak English? And I'm like, okay.
It
Yeah.
is total conditioning. That's part
Yeah.
of the assimilation process. And a lot of our wars, we look at a lot of things and we think, oh my gosh, this is about the measuring of our heads because one's more European than the other. And our common colleague we have in common, she had said to me, we were actually colonized to feel that we're better than you because we don't have this hair. We
Yeah.
don't have that. And you guys we're in the sewer. No, we're in the basement, but you guys are all on, you're in the sewer. So, but so we were taught that way. And I love Ayesha that we can again, it's not our fault, but together. That's why I love collaborating with you.
Yeah.
We can do something about it. We are going to actually book you again. We are having to book you ASAP. I am actually going to
No,
put
before I
somebody
leave, that's
aside.
what I want to
No,
tell
so
tell
say
your
something,
yeah,
please.
I
You
want
have
to tell
10
your
minutes, 10
viewer.
minutes more.
Sorry.
You have 10 minutes more. Go for it.
Okay, so I just want to tell the viewers, like, where does it start? We've been scared all this while. We have been watching the media. We have been watching. You just cannot blame it all on them. Through your experiences, change your conditioning. It is possible,
Beautiful.
right?
Absolutely.
We have so
Absolutely.
many friends. We have, like, for example, when you go the first time, when you said you saw two guys in a hoodie and you were worried, what are what are they there for? Just for once, just enter without thinking. Even
Yes.
if your mind says this is what they're for, here
Yes.
for, don't listen to it. Just go ahead, do what you're doing, and if it happens, it could happen with anyone.
Absolutely.
Calamities happen, accidents happen, everything happens, but that shouldn't change. If you're met with an accident in a car, you don't stop driving, right? So don't
Absolutely.
stop believing in people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Aisha, this is amazing. When I don't know if you ever saw the doll test. It's children. It's
Yes, yes, I saw
right?
that. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
and so that started via 1954, Brown versus the Board of Education. Two beautiful psychiatrists, black people, um, Kenneth and Mamie Clark. They wanted because Mr. Brown's daughter was going way out of bounds to a segregated school, and he thought this is ridiculous. There's a perfectly good school across the road,
Yeah.
but of course that was just for whites. But so now 1950, he took it all. It went all the way to Supreme Court because, and they called in these psychiatrists to prove that our children are feeling so their self-esteem is so low. So they've got these dolls, a black and a white one, and the children are asking, so which is the nice doll? Which doll do you like? Which one do you prefer? Blah blah blah. And the majority of those kids, the bad doll, the ugly doll, the evil doll was the dark doll. And it is so telling. We show it in our trainings because people, Aisha, it is emotionally, it triggers you. And this isn't just a matter of this takes a long time when you look at some of this content, because these darker people were categorized at the bottom of the rung. So meaning, no, you've got your Europeans at the top, you've got Asians, you have your maybe your Native Americans and so on, and then you have right at the bottom and humans, all sorts of things. And it is possible to close this gap of double consciousness, but it takes effort, and I think it's going to take a collaborative effort with all of us together. That's why I'm glad that you and I are kind of really, holding hands on this, and for real, we didn't even talk about the South Asians, but that is going to take you. We can book
No,
it out.
I want to add to that doll test,
Please do. Go ahead.
coming from South Asia.
Go ahead.
This is like the best example I can give. What you're saying is not wrong. It is just not in the Western countries. Even in India, where all of us belong to the same community, there is a category for the fairer section and for not so fairer section. Now, who in the world, I don't know, came up with the thought that being dark is not a good complexion or is not beautiful? Because see, I'm not very religious, but I believe in universe and God and Allah, right? So I say, if you believe in that God created everything, and if both, like, the darker or the fairer, everybody is being created by him, then you should understand
Mm.
that all his creations are beautiful.
Oh, we should logically, but in practice, and the implicit things that come with that when you are working in the corporate world, right?
Yeah. So
So yeah, go ahead,
in
hon.
India, there are like creams and bleaches and this and that, which where the ads say, like, if you're going, where marriage is an important institution in India, so they say, like, when you're going to get married, the guy has to choose you. You have to be fairer. To be fairer, use this cream, and the guy is going to select you at once. The family is going to select you at once. And the name of the cream, one of the creams, is Fair and Lovely.
Wow. Talk about subliminal seduction. That's
I
incredible.
know, but then things are changing. That's what I said.
Yes,
You
wonderful.
just have to voice out what
Yes,
you're thinking. Now,
absolutely.
there was, I think somebody sued the company saying, why Fair and Lovely? Why it is called so? Because, even like being like, having the tan skin, that it's so beautiful. It's like glowing. It's like
Yes,
so
yes, my
wonderful,
dear.
right?
Yeah.
So now the company changed its name. I don't remember what it is, but it is no longer Fair and Lovely. So I
Oh,
am
thank
happy.
goodness.
Those
I'm
are
glad.
the, like, small steps you have to take,
These are
right?
little steps that really they're impactful when they're compiled. It's
Yeah,
heavy. It can be heavy both ways, and I love it. I love that we can change things,
yeah,
because this two streams of thought and this issue of two social identities is a huge thing for people. Like, we were saying, they've got our South Asians, the two Indian to be in the white section, and you're two in, not enough for your family members. So this is huge. This
yeah.
is
And
huge.
if you don't voice it out, you're never going to reach there. Every independence you can see people fought, that's why they got
Thank
independence,
God.
right? And
Absolutely.
yeah, I love
Absolutely.
the story of Rosa Parks, because she fought for it, and she said, okay,
Yes.
enough is enough.
I
I'm not
totally
taking it,
agree. Yes, yes.
right?
We absolutely try to close the disconnect so people can say, because you can't move forward if you don't know what you're manifesting. You're manifesting things, and it's like, that's just me. That's just me. Maybe it's not just you. So we need to tap into what's going on. And
Yeah.
this woman right here, her credentials are fantastic for anyone that wants to get in touch with her. Ayesha, where can we put your information? So
I'll put it
you
in
can
the
actually
chat,
send
or
me,
I'll send it to you,
please, and
or
I'll
you can put
hook
it.
it on to
Yeah.
the description. You are
Yeah.
great. I'm looking at an ASAP. Are you willing to come back as soon as possible so we can just keep the
Sure,
energy
I
and
would
just
love that. But
slide in?
uh, uh, these conversations, Sandra, are so important, because many a times people don't know if they should say things or not. They've been
Very good.
subdued for a long, long time.
Yes,
So
yes,
it is
yes,
just that
yes,
whatever your
yes.
mind says, whatever your heart says, just do it. If you don't like what is happening to you, just say
Mm,
it. Say it to the,
mm,
you don't have to say it to the world, just say it to the person that is doing it to you. And
That's
that's the start.
wonderful. What tell me, so now, what do you find that does as a psychologist? What does that do for people when they can actually have a space to say it to someone they're connected to?
It opens up channels, because I the support group that not the support group, the weekly sessions that I told you about, one of the person came to me and she said, I voice things out better now
Oh.
because I have practiced it in the group. I'm
Mm.
not taking I'm not I don't say yes to everything people tell me. I've started
Yes.
to say no, I don't like this. So that's a start, right?
Mm. I love that whole group thing. What Aisha's talking about is it's called an affinity group where you can get together with people from your same nation. White people do it too, where they have a group, all white people come in, and you may be able to be a white person and you're saying, well, what do I call black people now? What do I call our indigenous brothers and sisters? Is it First Nations in Canada? What is it? Métis, Inuit? What do I call them? American Indians. But you're in a safe space with the same people where you can do that.
Absolutely.
I always say, as long as white people don't go in a room and come out with a hoodie, white hoodie. I'm sorry. Please excuse me. That's bad humor. Forgive me.
No problem.
Okay.
Yeah,
But this has been great. I love meeting with you. And
same
you
here.
put me at ease. We're doing this ASAP again. We need to get down to business. Okay.
We will.
Thank
Okay.
you, darling. And this was great. It was wonderful to be with you. All right,
Same
babe.
here. Yeah. Take care.
We have a little commercial for you guys. All
Yeah.
right. Good stuff.
Hi there, I'm Sandra McKechnie from Double Consciousness. Double Consciousness looks like this: cultural sensitivity, cultural awareness trainings. I've been doing it for 4 years. We're going into our 5th year, our 41st time on Zoom, and we're doing it. Would love you to join us. The next thing that I do is I'm a certified life coach holding space for clients in the areas of cultural awareness and sensitivity, right? So people that may have a challenge and they just want some space, a consultation, coaching opportunity to unpack implicit racial bias. Everybody's welcome, and we would love to have you in the trainings or book a consultation. And we have a free opportunity, 15 minutes, if you want to have a chat and get to know me and find out where you fit in that. The next thing that I do is I am a host for Voices of Humanity out of prconnectionsradio.com. If you want to be on my podcast and you're a fit, because it does have to fit with the show, has to complement the show and the network, I would love you to get in touch with me. And I'm also, from my heart, and I've always been a singer-songwriter, and I love this stuff. I love the singing. We put it in our trainings, our cultural sensitivity and awareness trainings. So sometimes I just sing just like this. You're all that I want. You are all that I need. And you brought me here when I can't find my way. You're all that I need. And you brought me here to pray. You should hear that with my keyboard player. It's to live for. Thank you so much for your time. I hope that helps you to know who Sandra McKechnie is. Take care. Bye for now.
So great to have had Ayesha. Francis, what did you think about Ayesha? Wasn't that great?
It's just amazing. I'm just like listening to you girls and laughing, and then just like, oh my gosh, that's so true, especially with the creams.
Oh, is it right? Okay, so these are my listeners. This is a great day. I was looking forward to this one. We're going to have Ayesha back for sure because she didn't even cover her topic. She's got so much under her belt and so much that she does, and we will give you the information to be in touch with Ayesha. This beautiful lady right here is my second. That gives away my age. My second cousin-in-law. I know, figure that out, right? So her mother-in-law is my first cousin. So I find this wonderful. Francis, yay! We are family. I love it. Nice to see you. Where are the babies? How did you get time for this?
Upstairs.
Okay.
Yeah, upstairs. I booted out my husband. Go
That's
upstairs.
okay.
I'll
That's okay. I know, isn't it terrible? I know you, and I haven't even met my second cousin. I know. Let's not even. I think I met him when he was a baby, but let's not get into that. Okay, I'm going to read your bio. Francis Durakovic. Am I saying that right, girl?
I think
Durakovic.
so.
Okay.
They say Durakovic. It's the
Dorakovic,
same.
sorry. Mayo, you're going to tell us a little more about that name. A multi passionate Filipina mom to two amazing, cute little ones, I must say, amazing kids, and a wife to a mulatto man. She spends her time either helping other amazing online entrepreneurs with their organic marketing on social media. I've been one of those people that she spent time with, and finding solutions for their challenges and filling up their revenue line. Lead generation pointing them to a great resource to improve their conversation strategy and visibility through Facebook live video interviews and repurposing it to other platforms. She loves helping others. She really does in their marketing and in any other way she can. And she loves great conversations and learning other people's stories. A perpetual learner, she sure is, and she's a humble soul, and I just love her. Fun fact: she loves to not only cook but eat exotic foods and would try anything edible once or twice. Ugh. I don't know. We can talk about that off camera. She recently cut her hair herself with great help from her mom in law on the part she can't reach, which is the back, to donate to charity that makes hair for the kids that are undergoing chemo. Oh, bless you, Anne. Great, great stuff. All right. So,
That's a long bio.
no, it's not so long. I've had longer. I didn't even have to highlight those, so no problem. Now, I want the people to know a little bit about you and where you're at now. In terms of being a Filipino individual, there's so much amazing things about the Philippines, but yeah, just a little bit more about yourself and what you're doing now.
Um, yeah, so I think I put everything in the bio. So
Yes,
mainly I'm a mom and I wanted to be there for my kids, just take care of them. At the
yes.
same time, wanted to augment the income of the household. And then the online world kind of like opened itself up for me 2019. And as you said, we help kind of like touch base with Pinterest marketing before. And right now
She
I'm
is
focusing.
great at that. You really gave me, remember, you met with me a couple of times just going over it. Oh, it really did the world for me because it's different than doing YouTube videos are fantastic. But when there's someone there, you can really just ask questions. It's really great. Do you still
Thank
do that?
you.
Should we put a plug for that? Do you still do that or you too busy?
um, whatever's needed. It's either me or I will send them to people who are more expert than me.
Okay, okay,
So
no
yeah.
problem. Because you got a lot of resources too. I notice,
Mm-hmm. Because
right?
I'm in a community of like a freelancing group from the Philippines.
Ah, okay,
Yeah.
okay. So we want to know how you show up in the world. How we were looking at because the show's called Double Consciousness, and of course, um, Frances interviewed me about double consciousness on her platform, and that was great. And I liked that interview. It was comfortable, and she's a very comfortable, down to earth gal. So you're married to my second cousin, who is he's actually mulatto, of course, right? Because my cousin married now Durakovic. Where's that name from? Durakovic.
Rakovic is from Bosnia. So I was
Okay.
like joking with you last time how the household itself is like a United Nations household.
That's it. That's it. That's for real. That's for real. How do you show up in the world in terms of if you're out, have you experienced because I know in the Philippines, there's some challenges where people they don't want to marry black. They certainly don't want to marry brown either. So there's that whole caste distinction among so many groups. That's why we shouldn't be against each other. Forget the I and the you and come together with the Franceses and the Ayeshas and do the we and look at what that looks like and how we can navigate from there as well with some harmony. But in the Philippines, it's a big deal for you to be marrying this brown guy.
um okay, I just wanted to say, like, I think we talked about it in the last part of our talk. It's like I'm just
Ah,
an Asian woman who's
yes.
trying to navigate the world of, well, at least I'm in Canada. As I said, I'm always grateful because people here are more accepting, like, of
Hmm.
me and of other people also. And
Yes.
yes, in the Philippines, it's a dream of like I'm sorry to say this, but like even men or women would actually prefer somebody who's fair or
Yes.
fairer than them and stuff like that. As you and Aisha has been saying, it's been like a generations,
Mm,
hundreds of years, thousands of years, because even in the Philippines are myths like with the goddesses and stuff, they're always like fair with
Yeah.
high nose, and like that's how it is. But um well, basically, it's not so bad with my family from back home, because one of my cousins, as if my home in Canada is the United Nations, even my family back home is kind of like a United Nation family. I have a cousin who married an Egyptian guy.
Okay.
Of course, he could actually talk to her, and of course, that got so much flack from her own mom, from
Oh,
the like, I mean,
from
from
the
the people
Egyptian side.
around
Yeah.
people, because as you said,
Yeah.
we like mostly people want to marry somebody who's from the states, who's a white guy. I'm sorry, I mean, I love everybody,
Well, speak
but
the
that's
truth
just
in
how
love.
it is,
That's what it
right?
is. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
So it's a big
and
deal if you
it's a
were
big
to
deal.
marry a white guy. Mind you, you do pretty good with your family, but if you were to marry a white guy, that would probably be seen socially as more acceptable, right?
Yeah, like everybody would like look at you as like, wow, you've snagged somebody who's gold, even if that white guy don't have anything at all.
You know, that class distinction thing it's all across the board. It is. And I look at your babies and I look at, oh my goodness, they are definitely tanned. So
Yeah,
and
the Filipino blood is this big, and of course the Bajan blood is big. So,
the Bayesian blood. Look at that Bayesian. I am a true Barbadian. How did you do with the accent, mommy-in-law? Okay,
oh no,
my
I can
cousin
understand.
Debbie has a Debbie, um, Beverly
Beverly.
has like a serious accent. She still has one, a serious.
Not so bad, not so bad at all.
I don't think she'll ever
It's
even lose
okay
it.
because I also have my own accents, so
You
we're just
do.
like two
I
roosters,
I
like
love
fighting
it. I
roosters.
love it. I love it. So when you are in the community in life, have you found anywhere in which how do how does the world see you? Have you had any challenges outside?
Oh, I think we've talked about this in our
Mm,
interview with the instance. I don't have much. I mean,
which is good.
which is good. I actually have more issues with fellow Filipinos who actually thought that
Mm,
I will be, this was giving me bad looks. Like, there's two kinds. Someone
please.
that is very, very accommodating and very welcoming.
Hmm.
And number two is the one that would actually give you the looks. Because my mom,
Yes,
I love my mom. All she told me is that whenever somebody give you the look, just smile at them more. Let them eat their
that's
hearts out.
perfect. What's the look for? What do you think the
Like, I
look is
mean,
for?
like I think um they just mistrust people from our country who are fond of maybe just making friends to take advantage of you. Maybe
Mm,
they're afraid I'm gonna ask them for money or help or whatever. So
mm,
like you could just see this invisible. I love my countrymen, but
of
it's just how
course.
it is. This invisible aura that they just clammed up, and then there's this story of one couple that they just like, like how they shift their body, kind of like closed, like, and I was not even going to them. I just realized that they're doing it because when I look, okay,
Oh, and
because
they
I
were
was doing my
from the
shopping.
Philippines.
No, this is here, just like yeah,
Okay.
here. So it's like
Okay.
fellow Filipinos here.
Fellow
Like, I
Yes, yes,
mean,
yes.
so like, I mean, with what I've heard from the talk earlier, like, I mean, like you wanted to be in the same company of your people. That's what I've heard with Ayesha
Absolutely.
earlier. Right?
Absolutely.
That's so true. But I realized that with my own people, there's, as I said, there's two kinds: the welcoming one and the ones that don't come near me at all. Which,
Wow.
so I
Yeah.
mean, I love them
Oh.
still, but that's just how it is. So as I said before, I haven't really worked outside of the house. So it's more online, but
Mm.
outside I've just been called yellow.
Well, yes, I mean, all of that. Oh my goodness. And you and you get mistaken for Chinese as well. I mean, probably have some blood in you somewhere. May perhaps, right? Does it bother you?
Possible.
You're good with that.
No, I'm actually good with it. I've been mistaken as Chinese. I've been mistaken as a Taiwanese. I've been mistaken as a Vietnamese. I've been mistaken, like,
Of
our
course. Of
neighbors
course.
and
Yeah.
stuff. And I'm good with it. If somebody talk to me in their language, I just say, I'm sorry. I can't understand.
Absolutely. And when you're
But I
with the
made
kids,
friends.
And the
But I mean,
kids don't have any challenges. I mean, the kids, they're young. There's not going to
mm-mm.
be any, problems. But in the Philippines, if you were living in the Philippines in certain areas and you had these two kids, what would that look like? And a brown husband. I was
So
talking to a friend about this. It's from a gentleman from the Philippines. I'm going to meet with him soon. I mean, and in the Philippines, it can be really harsh on people that have, that are dating someone black or someone even just a tan. It can be a big issue. People will say, "Well, why you married that person? They're dark."
well, personally, I don't have that problem because
That's great.
my husband doesn't like. He's like he could pass for Filipino or he could pass for Latino. He could pass for
Yes, yes, this is true,
so
true,
yeah.
true,
So
true.
he can't but I have a cousin who actually married somebody from Africa.
Mm.
And
Ah,
yes, there's like yeah, like a beautiful black man.
yes.
It's just that his presence is commanding in a way so people won't tell him on his face because he's big and muscular and everything. But yeah, with my kids, I think there's not going to be a problem. People will find them cute.
They are
People
very, very cute. That's
so
beautiful. So, what did you like about my second cousin? Huh? Why were you attracted to that brown man? What's up?
okay, I'll be honest. I haven't we've been friends for 5 years before we met in 2006. Then he visited, I think, like I mean he visited me in the Philippines a couple of times. And then we tied a knot in 2013. So
Wow.
it's a long friendship game because I never really wanted to marry anyone, if that makes
Really?
sense.
That doesn't sound right for,
and in
for
the
your people.
Philippines, and in the
Sorry,
Philippines,
for your
marrying
group.
is for you.
That's a big deal, right?
Like in the Philippines, it's a big deal. Yeah. I've grown up not really thinking about those stuff. So we just became friends, and then I guess we click. And yeah, the rest is history. But
That's
it's not a
wonderful.
bad thing to be with someone who's actually attractive, and people there are actually trying to girls there has been running onto his arms and everything. So yeah, why not?
Oh wow. Well, that's a good thing. I don't know
I
if it's
told
big,
him just
but
go, just be with them, whatever. But I mean, yeah, I'm kidding.
so where do you want to go with your business? Like, what are you doing in your business? Because you did an amazing thing with me online. You helped me a lot in what I'm doing because it really benefited me in terms of getting the word out here about double consciousness and stuff. And so, where is it that you want to go so that we can maybe plug that a little bit?
Oh, thank you. So, when you asked me about what I wanted to do, really, was so clear in 2019, 2020 when we were talking about Pinterest that that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And then 2020, 2021, I lost my clarity of what I want. But right now, yeah, as you said, I've created this space in Facebook where we do the Facebook live interviews and stuff. And I think it's getting noticed. So I wanted to hold that space, and then still with my freelancing thing, I wanted to refer people with the experts that could really serve them better because for me, taking care of the two kids, I don't know how my other freelancing moms, they have kids smaller than mine, but they can still serve really good with their clients. Amazing. But for me, I just wanted to have referrer. And
Mm.
then sometimes people like I mean this my fellow freelancers gives me like a rebate or like a referral fee or an affiliate fee. So I just want to have a space where other small entrepreneurs, online experts also don't have. I mean, you have this nice and amazing platform to share your voices and let other people share their voice too
Oh,
in this
definitely.
kind,
Definitely. And we want all
right?
the voices. So, what do you want in terms of letting people hear you?
Oh, I'm just growing my own thing as of the moment. Like I'm growing that Facebook live interview series and
I
maybe
think
put it
that's
in YouTube
great.
too.
Hun, go for it. No, I think that would be amazing because you're good at it. You just make people feel comfortable, at ease. So
Oh,
that's
thank
I
you.
was going to ask you the big question that I asked Ayesha. Ayesha's like she'll just go for because there's so much she's experiencing and a number of people weekly being interviewed and interviewed. When you think of your own biases for any group, whether it's Indigenous or Indians, because or just to keep it real with people, we all kind of come through the womb with them, and people pass them to us, and we have to confront them. It's tapping into our conscious unawareness first, the idea that we may not be unaware of our unawareness in relationship to different groups, right? So when you think of any group in your life, whether it's blacks before you married a mulatto gentleman, what were you thinking? What was that look like? What was passed to you that you were aware of? Were you able to tap into that?
Okay. I don't know if this gonna answer your question. Philippines have been under the Spanish rule for like 300 years, American
Mm,
rule for a few years. The Chinese and the Indians are friends bartering for thousands of years.
yes.
And with the black people, I just really I just saw them in the movies before. I know my mom had, if not my dad, I know somebody from Nigeria who is a professor in her school, was courting her, planning to court her, but he's so slow that the time that he actually wanted to ask her out, she's already pregnant with me. So he didn't know. So I mean, like I think, and the family, in my family, like we have like I've been exposed to different cultures already. Like we have an Indian in the family, we have
Mm,
everything, right? So number one, maybe even though I'm friends with our Muslim brothers and sisters, so with the biases,
yeah.
um that's where sometimes, even though I have, I told you before, I wanted to think that I'm also one of those metropolitan people with open mind, but sometimes um it's just that because in my city in the Philippines, we have wars all the time.
Hmm. Hmm.
And so it's like a terrorist infested city.
Yes.
And it's usually like I want to think that not everybody of them are terrorists. Just like how they think that not all Christians are bad also, because like, it's just how it is in Mindanao, especially in my island.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um so yeah, that I also have a bias with my own Filipino people, as you said earlier,
Hmm.
when there's two kinds. And for the blacks and our Indians and our different ones and even the whites, yeah, like I mean, as you said, it's been there for so long that even if you don't want to think about it, it's there. Like
Yes.
I
Yes.
think
Yes.
I told you about that story just like a few weeks ago. It happened again. This beautiful white young girl in one of the grocery stores. I just wanted to get a Kinder surprise for my kid. And she gave me that, like she really leaned down and looked at what I actually took out from the counter. So, I mean, as we said, there's always that thing that
Hmm.
happens. So,
Oh, you were picking like what, candy or something? Was it
yeah,
candy?
like yeah, candy. So, even though I don't want to think that she thinks that I'm stealing something,
Mm,
it felt
mm,
like that. So, I guess if I were in her shoes also, if I see somebody who I think is categorized as somebody that might do these things, I'll be honest, I might even look also at what they're doing. Like I remember you talking to me about your story in a shopping mall where they would kind of like ask you about your bag or
yes.
something.
Yes. Yes.
So I
Yes.
don't know if that answers your question,
Oh
but
no,
yes.
yes, definitely. Like sometimes there's other people's bias imposed on us, and we know that's what it is. And I think when we were talking like with Aisha, the same thing. When we have some knowledge as to what the offense, maybe it doesn't pain us any less in terms of being feeling internally oppressed about what's happening to us, especially if it's happening constantly and it's impactful. But it shows us what it is. It's like you see the truth in front of you, and the truth, when you know it, it can make you free. There's a certain freedom in it because then you have a choice, right? When once you tap into that awareness as to what can I do? Maybe I can look something up. I can study something. I can pick up a book, and it'll give me an understanding of the backstory for that situation. Like, if people are saying people are showing up and looking, and people are looking like gun violence. There's all this stuff. Why are people showing up a certain way in the 21st century? Take a trip back into the time warp, 21st century, 20, 19, 18, 17. Go back, and we're not saying people shouldn't be giving an account for what they're doing. Absolutely, breaking the law, etc. but what's going on back there, and why are we showing up thinking a certain way about different groups, you know? And when before you married, were you thinking a certain way about blacks, that you, even though you only saw them in TV? What do you think came through the time warp, and what were you thinking, that you were taught?
Um, okay. I don't know if I've told you about this, but actually Filipinos are like our ancestors came from Africa.
Hmm.
Like until now, we do have this community in the Philippines that's untouched. Like
Yeah.
from with the kinky hair, with like
The
the
Francis, the indigenous Philippines are dark, dark people.
yes, we are.
I love
Actually,
it.
we
Isn't
are.
this lovely?
So yes, we are.
I think it's delightful. You're my people. Let's have a hug. Let me come in.
Like we are. We do. We are.
This is very interesting. I love that. And that makes me feel amazing. You are my people. Eh? I am your people. That is a good thing. But nevertheless, what did you think? Because we weren't brought up maybe thinking that up front. But what did you think somewhere in your mind?
I don't know. Like
Hmm.
I can't honestly say anything bad with the blacks or anything. But
Okay.
one thing I know, growing up, what we always have this, like I just remember your doll test.
Yes. Oh my
We
goodness. Yeah.
always
Yeah.
have been given the fair looking dolls.
Yes, of
Even
course.
with Barbies, like it's rare that you could actually get Barbies that are in different colors, especially in the 80s and 90s, right? But when
Very
this
true.
yeah, when this other, I forgot the name of the brand, where I guess well, my mom can't afford a Barbie because it's kind of expensive. She gave us this darker darker version of a Barbie, kind of.
Yes.
I remember not liking it. I don't know if because of it's the color, it's because it's not original. So, but I know that in the Philippines, as Ayesha have said, it's been inculcated in our mind. Glutathione is the best product to sell in the Philippines. Not because for the liver. Glutathione is a good for the liver, right? But
Lucas Ion.
glutathione, it's what do you call this? It's a pill. It's one of our things things in our body that actually
Yes.
produces.
That's what
Yeah,
I'm.
glutathione is actually good for the liver,
Yeah.
but Filipinos are drinking it like 10 times, 10 tablets a day just because it could make you fairer.
My darling. I'm hearing you. This is why we need each other, oh, because let me tell you, we really do. We need each other so that we can bring this to the front. This is the catalyst of your interview. Because honestly, when you think about the things that we're doing out here, and we're not there, nobody's talking about it. And there's a lot of people that are talking about some of this on here. But I mean, in your everyday life, when you're out there and you meet people, or you go to a party, and sometimes, or a gathering, and you think, Lord, because now I'm doing this work, sometimes I really have to watch where I'm going, because it's like I'm so in this that I don't want to be just have a light moment all the time, going out, having a drink or whatever. No, I'm not there. I'm a woman of faith. Plus, I try to keep myself on the straight and narrow. You know what I'm saying? So I really think that this type of thing for me is where I want to put the bulk of my time, coaching and doing this, the podcast, my music, of course, as well. But I'm just thrilled that you could recognize some of these things. Besides that, I love you.
Love you
I
too.
just think you're great. I'm supposed to be coming to Hamilton to see Uncle, so we gotta connect. I gotta make a point of trying to connect with you. And I really appreciate your time. I really do. Thank you
Oh my
so much.
oh my gosh, it's almost 30. I
Huh?
didn't even notice the time.
I know, I know. I needed to have you here, and I'm so glad that I did. And it's really important that other people, Filipino people, are aware of what you're saying and acknowledge that, you know what? Since it's funny when people hear things being said, even when people come to my trainings and they hear it and they hear it, and it's an 8 hour training, so we hear a lot, it's like something's in front of your face, like a mural. You're right up at it, but only when you back up and you see it and you go, "Oh my gosh, yes, yeah, I've heard it. She said it. I know I'm feeling it. Maybe we can implement change." And thank you, sweetheart. And I hope that Francis sit around. I'm just stuck around. Um, I'm going to say bye goodbye, just a soft goodbye, and we'll be right back. Okay.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Voices of humanity, we need to hear your voices. We need to hear your voices.
Hey, there are
Hi.
beautiful ladies. Ayesha, Frances. I had a wonderful time with you girls. All right. You've got beautiful spirit, lovely energy. I'll be praying for you. You all are important to this work. I really appreciate it so much. And if there, is there anything else that you want to say before we go to our listeners?
I just want to say thank you so much for this opportunity. I enjoyed, and Francis, I enjoyed everything that you said. Even I love to try everything I can eat, and that's also a bias we have to, get rid of, because I see Philippines. It's the grasshoppers. They eat
Oh, Lord,
grasshoppers, and
have
they will
mercy.
eat
Don't be
all
promoting
the
that.
creepy crawlies that I call. But yeah, I would love to try it sometime. Maybe it is yummy and tasty, right?
Stick with the clean foods. Anyhow, that's another topic. Stick with the clean foods.
No,
And what
I,
about
I
you?
I completely agree with that, and I love the way you said about Muslims. I'm a Muslim, right? But then we are so comfortable. It is just that there is a block in your head which is created, like Sandra and I spoke, through media or through people around us, which needs to be broken. So the more we meet, I'm sure you'll get rid of that, Francis.
Colonization. Hello.
So thank you so much, Sandra, and it
Thank you,
was
my dear
wonderful listening to you.
ladies.
Yeah.
Wonderful to be here. Thank you, my listeners. Our listeners, it was wonderful to be with you. And I hope you received some really genuine, beautiful content from these ladies. And I know you feel good about them. I do too. Thank you very much. Remember, subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. That's so that you can get the videos when we kick them out. Thanks so much. Remember, it's not your fault or mine, but together we can do something about it. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Thank you.